Grave threat for Carlos Alcaraz. Tennis is constantly evolving, and new generations are striving to make their mark among the best. Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner have dominated the last 5 Grand Slam titles, establishing themselves as the circuit's main references. However, other players are proving that they can compete at the highest level. Alexander Zverev, at 27 years old, remains in the fight but still lacks a Grand Slam title to back him up. Meanwhile, young talents like Jack Draper and Holger Rune have shown that the generational shift is underway. In this context, Jakub Mensik has made a strong impact at the Miami Masters 1000. At just 19 years and 6 months old, the Czech player has reached the semi-finals, becoming the 5th youngest player in history to achieve this feat at the tournament. Only Felix Auger-Aliassime, Rafael Nadal, Carlos Alcaraz, and Lleyton Hewitt have surpassed him in precocity. This milestone not only puts him on the global tennis map but also makes him a real threat to the current circuit dominators. Mensik has shown impressive maturity in his game. His victory over France's Arthur Fils in the quarterfinals made it clear that he is not just a promising talent but a player capable of competing against the best. His combination of power, technique, and composure in key moments makes him a rival to watch out for. Additionally, standing at 1.93 meters and with an aggressive playing style, he possesses all the qualities necessary to shine on the ATP circuit. Tennis history has shown that great champions always have to contend with the arrival of new generations. Alcaraz and Sinner have been the most prominent in recent years, but now they will have to face players like Mensik, who are eager to claim their place in the elite. Although he currently holds the number 54 ranking, his performance in Miami will guarantee him a significant rise, bringing him closer to the top 30. His progression is reminiscent of other great talents who burst onto the circuit with force. In 2024, Mensik had already shown glimpses of his potential by reaching the final of the ATP 250 in Doha. However, his performance in Miami has been his biggest statement yet. His ability to compete in major tournaments and his rapid evolution make him a player to closely follow. Czech tennis has produced great figures throughout history, and Mensik seems ready to continue that tradition. Since Thomas Berdych in 2015, no Czech player had reached the semifinals in Miami. Now, with more experience and consistency, Mensik could become a regular contender in the final rounds of the most important tournaments, challenging the best players in the world. Carlos Alcaraz has not had the start to the season he expected. After an early exit at the Miami Open and over a year without a Masters 1000 title, his team has decided to change strategies. The big news in his schedule is the potential inclusion of the Monte Carlo Masters 1000, a tournament he initially did not plan to play. Alcaraz's 2025 season has been full of ups and downs. Although he started the year with a victory in Rotterdam, his performances in Indian Wells and Miami have raised many questions about his form. In the former, he fell in the semifinals to Jack Draper, while in the latter, he was eliminated in his debut against David Goffin. These defeats have complicated his hopes of closing in on the number 1 ranking and winning another Masters 1000 title. Jannik Sinner's absence due to a suspension presented a great opportunity to close the gap, but the reality turned out very differently. Faced with this situation, Alcaraz and his team have decided to make adjustments to his schedule. Initially, the Spaniard had planned to skip the Monte Carlo Masters 1000 to stay fresh for the key phase of the clay court season. However, after his early exit in Miami, it seems they have opted to play this tournament instead, likely skipping the Rome Masters 1000. As a result, his new path to Roland Garros would include Monte Carlo, Barcelona, and Madrid before heading to the second Grand Slam of the season. The change is aimed at gaining more match rhythm on clay, a surface where Alcaraz has proven to be more dominant. In 2023, he was unable to compete in Barcelona or Madrid due to injury, which disrupted his preparation for Roland Garros. Now, with a well-structured clay season, he hopes to regain his best form and compete with confidence for his 3rd Grand Slam title. One of the most interesting consequences of this schedule adjustment is that Alcaraz will not face Jannik Sinner until Roland Garros. The Italian, suspended for doping, will return to competition in Rome, making it his only warm-up event before Paris. This means that the highly anticipated rivalry between the two will not see another chapter until the most important clay court tournament, increasing anticipation for a potential showdown at Roland Garros. The last time Alcaraz and Sinner faced off was in the final of Beijing in October 2024, where the Spaniard emerged victorious. Since then, Sinner has remained unbeaten, adding even more intrigue to his return. However, the Italian's lack of match practice could work in Alcaraz's favor, as he will already be well adjusted to clay after competing in Monte Carlo, Barcelona, and Madrid. On the other hand, Alcaraz's decision to skip Rome could also be a strategic move for physical recovery. The clay season is extremely demanding, and a well-timed break before Roland Garros could be crucial in ensuring he arrives in peak condition. Throughout his career, he has shown that his best performances come when he has enough time to prepare and avoid muscle overload. Carlos Alcaraz's schedule adjustment reflects the need to find a balance between preparation and rest. The inclusion of Monte Carlo and skipping Rome could be key to his performance at Roland Garros. Additionally, the lack of matchups against Sinner until Paris adds an element of mystery to the battle for the number 1 ranking. Carlos Alcaraz has not had the start to the season many expected. After his eliminations in Indian Wells and his shocking loss in Miami, doubts about his performance have begun to grow. Is he going through a crisis, or is it just a bump in the road? Former player Alex Corretja is certain, there is no reason to panic. With the clay season just around the corner, the Spaniard has a fresh opportunity to showcase his true level. Could this be the turning point for Alcaraz? The beginning of 2025 has been a tough test for Carlos Alcaraz. While he claimed a title in Rotterdam, his performances in Indian Wells and Miami fell short of expectations. The absence of Jannik Sinner, suspended for doping, seemed like a golden opportunity for the Spaniard to close the gap in the battle for number 1. However, the outcome was quite different. Sinner, without playing, gained an advantage, while Alcaraz failed to capitalize on the circumstances. Despite recent struggles, Alcaraz remains one of the brightest young stars in tennis. His talent and champion mentality remain intact, and the upcoming clay season offers a golden chance to get back on track. As Corretja suggests, there is no need for anxiety. Alcaraz has everything it takes to dominate once again. Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner have established themselves as the leading figures in men's tennis in recent years, capturing multiple Grand Slam titles and consistently competing at the highest level. Their rivalry has been one of the most exciting storylines on the ATP Tour, with both players pushing each other to new heights. However, the landscape of men's tennis is always evolving, and new challengers are beginning to emerge, eager to disrupt the current order and stake their claim among the sport's elite. One of the most intriguing rising stars is Czech sensation Jakub Mensik. At just 19 years old, Mensik has already made a strong statement by reaching the semifinals of the Miami Masters 1000, a remarkable feat that places him among the youngest players ever to achieve such a milestone. His impressive run in Miami has turned heads across the tennis world, with many now wondering if he has what it takes to compete regularly against the likes of Alcaraz and Sinner. Mensik's game is built on a powerful serve, aggressive baseline play, and remarkable composure under pressure, qualities that have defined many of the sport's greatest champions. His rapid rise suggests he could soon become a serious contender in major tournaments. Could he be the next big rival for Alcaraz and Sinner? Are we witnessing the emergence of a future Grand Slam champion?